It's time we started the meeting. My name's Bill Mullins. I'm the Socialist Party Industrial Organiser, and I'm chairing this meeting tonight. It's a joint meeting organised by the Socialist Party and the Respect Party, even if it's just one banner behind me, but that's purely accidental, Nick tells me, because they haven't got a banner yet. They will know that the next time. And this meeting, I think, is of great interest, not just to people who are involved in the unions, but I think the wider working class as well, because there's enormous lessons to be learned from the events, particularly in the past couple of weeks. And it's a joint meeting between the Socialist Party and Respect. And from the Socialist Party, we've got Keith Gibson, who became the strike leader of the Lindsey Oil Refinery subcontractor workers, particularly Shaw's, but also other subcontractors in that oil refinery in North Lincolnshire. And we've got Jenny Hicks, who's the left candidate for the General Secretary, Socialist Party, Respect National Committee, and the left candidate in the Amicus General Secretary election that's taking place soon. Now, in the press yesterday, the Guardian had a photograph of Keith speaking at a meeting at the Newark power station, the Staythorpe power station, which has been built, and they marched afterwards down to Newark itself, to the job centre. So you can, if you want to see a photograph of Keith, it's been carried in the Guardian, and Keith will explain the issues that behind how the strike wave started in that plant. And I have to say from the beginning that struggle was a victory. The outcome in particular was a victory for all workers of all nations, and particularly in Britain, but also across Europe as well. That struggle was a victory in spite of the anti-union laws, in spite of the EU loaded dice against workers across the continent, the EU, the continent of Europe itself. And it was a victory that defied those laws, defied the courts of the EU, and it made an international appeal, and it set the benchmark, not just in Britain, particularly in the industry of construction engineering, and the big sites of nuclear power stations, of the power stations, of the oil refineries, up and down Britain, but also across the whole of Europe, and again, that will come out as far as that's concerned. But it also demonstrates, in that struggle, the role of conscious socialists intervening, not just by Keith himself, who played a central role in that struggle, but also by the role of the party which I'm proud to belong to. Now, Jerry, as I said, will be the second speaker, and he'll be speaking, no doubt, about the election campaign and the reception he's had up and down the country, meeting workers in an extremely important election in the Amicus section of the Unite Union. And the Daily Mirror this morning had a cutting. I've got a cutting. It's from an article by Paul Rutledge, well known, and it describes Jerry's opposition candidate, Derek Simpson, the existing General Secretary of that union. Derek comes from Sheffield as the union's sensible left. So I don't exactly know what that means. Jerry is. He said it's more senseless left, and he represents the sensible left as far as that's concerned. But Jerry will speak first, and I think Keith will speak first and go into the developments that took place in that year. And I won't take up any more of the meeting's time and ask Keith to speak, to explain the situation that developed around the Lindsey Oil Refinery strike last week or the week before.
Thank you, Chair, for that introduction. I First of all, I'd like to convey my appreciation and the Strike Committee's appreciation on the support that workers give to that movement at Lindsey Oil Refinery. But I think it's quite a contrast as I look round this meeting today and speaking in this hall. For the past 2 weeks, I've been involved in a strike movement where the events at Lindsey Oil Refinery, where the weather wasn't too good for us, it was throwing it down with snow, it was freezing, but the response of workers, whatever the weather, outside Lindsey Oil Refinery, I thought was a testament to working class people. And I was speaking on behalf of the Strike Committee on the back of an open-top van with a megaphone. And yes, it's been mentioned that like relating back to the miners' strike, where you get a megaphone in your hand, you start speaking, the end of the megaphone comes off, and it was quite exciting to say the least. But some of the lads said I didn't need that megaphone, that my voice was quite good on those particular speeches that I made from the back of that van. But I think we've got to look at the background to this particular dispute. The background what workers face, not just in this country, but internationally. The background of an ongoing recession, where there's thousands and thousands and thousands of jobs going within this country and also internationally. You've just got to look at the amount of money, the millions and millions and millions of pounds that the banks that the government have thrown at the banks. Money, that's our money, and they're trying to bail out a system which is not giving working class people a future. And I think in that background, the employers are looking to undermine the agreement that I work under. It's called the NIKI agreement. It's the National Agreement for Construction and the construction industry and the workers that work under that particular agreement. They're looking to claw back all the improvements, all the benefits what construction industry workers have gained over the last period. And I think that's the background to this particular dispute, where workers are looking at what the consequences of a system that's going to give them no future, that's what they're looking at. So on the particular construction, the construction industry what I work in, leading up to Christmas, the shop stewards of Shaw's, which I work for, Shaw's UK, they'd lost part of the contract which that particular firm had on the contract that I work on. And there was a discussion going on with the shop stewards about the fact that they'd lost part of that contract on the HDS3 project. It's a hydro desulfurisation project on Lindsey Oil Refinery. And because they'd lost part of that contract, they'd put forward a 90-day redundancy. Shaw's had said to the shop stewards that because they'd lost part of that contract, there'd be a 90-day redundancy notice being put in. And that had culminate in on the 17th of February of a certain amount of the Shaw's workforce losing their jobs.